going to be going over my 2017 Bushcraft and Survival Fire Kit today. So let's finally get started. Before I go over the pack contents, I do want to go over this kit that I carry. Now this is quintessentially the kit that I've really always carried. Fire stuff in. It's a really awesome kit and really one of my favorite bags because this bag isn't that complicated to make, but this one was actually made by, or for me, by MCQ Bushcraft. And for those who don't know him, he's an awesome bushcrafter out of Britain, but he actually sent me this along with some fire supplies and stuff that I still have in this kit around 3 or 4 years ago. I think around 3.5, 4 years ago. So it's been a really long time, but I really do still love this kit. It's around the perfect size for me to carry all my stuff in. And if you guys notice, if you go especially back to some of his earlier videos, you'll notice that he carries a fire bag very similar, and that's because, like I said, he actually made this one for me. So really love this fire kit, really especially for that reason that he made this more in-depth look. This is what the bag looks like. Very nice leather, and it has a antler toggle on it that is really awesome for helping lock pretty much what makes up everything that you saw in this kit. So I'm going to first go over all the different fire starting methods, or the methods that I have in this kit that can start fires. Jumping right into it, the first method I have for fire is just a ferro rod. This is a Light My Fire with its striker. This is a coconut shell Amazon store. I think I actually already do, but this is the coconut shell handled Light My Fire ferro rod and its striker, and I really like this thing. It is an excellent ferro rod. One is in this Altoids tin, and this is my full-on, very comprehensive flint and steel. I've actually kind of buried the steel, but you guys can see there, that is the steel. Hopefully you guys can see, but this little bit here, there's actually, it runs a lot longer. I just don't want to dig it out. But I have the steel in here. I have several chunks of flint chert in here for striking, and then I have a whole bunch of different natural and semi-natural tinder materials in here. I have cramp balls here, chaga here. This is amadou. This kind of leathery material here is just small little bits of amadou, and then of course the black stuff in these bags is char cloth. So I have a whole bunch of different methods or ways to get sparks or to carry embers from the flint, and that is very important for the flint and steel. In addition to the flint and steel in here, I don't necessarily carry them in here because they would be too big, but I have a couple little bits of antler in here in this fire kit, and the reason why I carry these antler bits is because the flint or flint chert, as you strike it, every time you strike it, you run the probability of damaging the fine edge of the flint, and every once in a while it happens regardless to how careful you are or not careful. It just happens, and so you have to kind of flint nap the edge back onto your pieces of flint chert. Why I carry a couple pieces of antler, for anyone wondering why. So the next ignition system I carry, and the last ignition system that I'll generally carry, and sometimes I rotate different types of ignition systems, but primarily these are the three that always remain in here, and this one is a magnifying glass. It's just a very basic magnifying glass, nothing too special about it, and of course this, if the sun's out, which ironically today it's not, but if and when the sun's out, this is a very efficient and very awesome way of starting a fire. To the tinders and what I call like pre-tinders, because two of these three fire starting systems, the flint and steel and the magnifying glass, they can't really actually light something like this on fire, unlike the ferro rod. The ferro rod can actually just light any of these accelerants and kind of tinders just straight on fire. But for these other two methods that don't produce as much heat, they need pre-tinders. So I carry a few cramp balls as well as a bunch of chaga in here. I also carry, it's kind of buried here, I also carry some amadou, which is this stuff. It looks like leather and it feels a lot like leather, but this is actually a part of the fungus called, or a false tinder fungus, and what you do with a big piece of false tinder fungus is there's actually ways to cut it, and I think I'm going to do a video in this summer showing how to do that, but there is ways you process this, and then you can make it look like this kind of leather material, and it takes sparks or anything very, very easy. It's a lot like char cloth. In fact, many people think it was essentially the first char cloth. Getting on to I just want to cover these, I guess, because these are a little bit different. I carry these in here for whenever I want to do bow drill fires. These, in case you guys don't know, are kind of like base plates, and essentially what you do is you get your board that you're going to be working with and, you know, creating the dust out of, and you set this underneath that board, and this will hold all the dust that you produce from the bow drill or any drill fire method. And so this will hold that dust and will hold an ember. In addition, these are also flammable, so you can take that ember and you can set this in, let's just say like this, and then you could actually light this entire thing on fire. So you could do that. I generally don't like to light these on fire because finding the right thickness of birch bark with these can be a little bit hard. But if you don't set these on fire, you can also reuse these, but essentially their purpose is to be a base plate for catching dust. This piece here is the first accelerant. This is just a whole bunch of shavings of magnesium, and this is really nice, and this is something that I like to do before going out into the woods, is take like a magnesium bar and just shave a whole bunch of really small and fine shavings and put them in a little vial like this.